Hello.
Okay, welcome back to another Between the Pages book chat. And today our guest is author William Tchatchou. I hope I pronounced that right.
That is the
And
closest no one
we're
ever came.
we're here to discuss his book Hotel of Madness, which is, and by the way, it has a gorgeous cover. You should go check it out. And I'm going to turn over to him now and let him introduce himself. So take it away.
My name is William Tchatchou. I am a Washington D.C. native. I pretty much wrote this first book as kind of a fan, not really a fan, but more of a love letter to my local nerd community. So that's a little bit for people who, grew up around here can recognize a lot of stuff that, if you're into geek culture, recognize as well. So that's kind of my contribution to the greater geek narrative, I guess.
Oh, that's nice. I like the greater geek narrative. So tell us about the book. What's it about?
So the titular character is Arthur Curry. He is how to say it? He is a contractor, occultist. So basically, he works as a cultist, and he's a freelancer who goes around solving different problems. Right now, he is a tired old man who wants a vacation. So someone gave him the opportunity to make a little extra money, and he took that by trying to sell a copy of the Necronomicon. Unfortunately, the person that he sold it to promptly lost the book and wants his assistance in getting it back. So that's where the book pretty much um, falls from there.
Okay, so your description called it horror and urban fantasy. So is that sort of like a darkish urban fantasy with a lot of occult stuff in it?
Yes. So I bring a lot of inspiration from, like, if you watch something like Supernatural or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As I got older, I started liking things from like H.P. Lovecraft, uh, John Carpenter's movies. So Prince of Darkness, I recommend everyone to watch it if you're a horror fan. That's probably the coolest thing I've seen besides this movie It. I'm not It, but The Thing. Kind of mix the two movies up. And I recently watched Mouth of Madness, which is actually really good, despite the fact that it wasn't really critically acclaimed at the time. But for all intents and purposes, it's kind of like it's a character who has to deal with magic, in the sense that his universe cannot allow magic to exist. So the allowing of magic fundamentally alters reality and allows beings from beyond our concept of space time to basically transpose themselves into our reality. So ideally, you don't want to do that. And his backstory deals with the fact that he is a descendant of Atlantis, and Atlantis was the first necromantic magical kingdom. Like they went full on using magic to improve their day-to-day lives and to pretty much enslave or persecute the local population, which is everyone else on planet Earth that's not Atlantis. And that came with consequences. And those consequences eventually led to Arthur pretty much being somewhat cursed to try to solve problems that, will eventually lead to the end of the world.
It sounds like the book might have a little comic influence as well. Would that be
Yes.
correct?
Yes, it
Yeah.
has a big comic influence. There is a particular episode of the Justice League where they describe the old ones, and it's actually set up in a situation where Dr. Fate and Aquaman are trying to sacrifice Solomon Grundy, which is basically an undead zombie, and the rest of the Justice League can't figure out why they want to do it. So they get this big fight, basically. I want to say scuffle, and they've been in a big fight. Superman, Wonder Woman, whoever else is available are trying to stop them from, getting rid of Solomon Grundy. And it turns out that this like relatively dark ritual is to stop basically the return of the great old ones, who has influenced his cultures and even Like it's implied that even hot girls culture was influenced by the great old ones. So that really stuck to me when I was watching it a billion years ago, and I kind of wanted to expand upon those ideas.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Arthur. What's he like?
Uh, Arthur is, if you ever met a self-assured IT guy, a little bit of put upon, he doesn't really want to be where he is because he wouldn't choose to be a hero if it was up to him, but it's kind of just pushed upon him. And he is relatively kind of arrogant. Like he knows what he's doing and he's going to do it, and he's not going to stop it. He's not going to let anyone stop him from trying to do the right thing. May not be the best thing, but he's going to go full steam ahead and trying to solve a problem once he sees it.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the world. Is it like our reality with a magical underworld, or is it sort of like people are aware of magic?
It's like our reality, but there's definitely a magical underworld because, for all intents and purposes, it's not really an underworld per se. It's like a magical current. So there are people who know about the truth of the occult, who know that like magic is derived from sacrifice, and that you need to basically think about things logically in order to bring about real power. And there's people who don't know how to do that, and they're just kind of pretending because they know about magic and they read the little Harry Potters and stuff like that, and they reference that. And the idea is that those that side of the equation is always inevitably going to happen. Someone inevitably going to stumble upon the truth of the whole situation, and then they can either choose to do bad things with truth, or they get lucky and someone from either their local government or from the international organization, picks them up and tells them, "Hey, this is what you're not supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do." And then hopefully, you're on the straight and narrow from there. You're doing bad things for the good guys.
Okay. So what was the hardest scene or type of scene that you had to write in the book?
Ooh, um, hardest scene to write. I decided to give uh, a character that I didn't plan for a POV, and it kept on going from there. Basically, so at some point in the book, our titular main character meets a volunteer nurse, and that nurse eventually evolves into her own character who has her own motivations and plots, and own reasons to try to stop what's going on. Like she sees what's going on and she rises to the occasion. And writing her was probably pretty difficult because, like, this started off as a short story for me. So like really, to the point, you got your main character, he does a thing, he's good to go. When you start adding other characters, other perspectives, it gets messy. Easier and messy at the same time. Um, and it's like a second hardest thing I've done in the book, which is writing a perspective from a non-living inanimate perspective. So the Necronomicon actually has a perspective in the book. So it has some type of semi-consciousness that it actually uses to influence other people.
Oh, that's cool. So what was your favorite scene or type of scene to write in the book?
When I decided to give the Necronomicon a perspective, it was actually I don't know. It lets me get away with things that I normally wouldn't be able to get away with if I was writing a more traditional character. So his part was actually the most fun because I was like, "Oh, I'm doing something cool. Like I'm doing something just like stuff here."
Okay, so tell us a little bit about some of the secondary characters. What are they like? A little quirky? Do they just background, or do they steal some scenes from the main character?
Um, well, it's kind of subjective to the reader, depending upon whether or not they actually stole the scene. Um, there is this guy who lost the book in the first place. He gets a couple of POVs, and you see the perspective of someone who is a little more reckless and a little more power hungry, and not in like the rule the world kind of power hungry, but kind of in the I have something that no one else has, and I'm going to abuse the crap out of it kind of power. So there's that perspective, and I try to write him. He's a little bit of flair. He's not just another version of like the main character. I gave a slightly different voice to. At least I tried to anyway. Um, Here's of course Susan. Her perspective was pretty cool, and when I eventually started writing the Necronomicon perspective, and then having other characters basically be influenced by Necronomicon and seeing their choices as they're being pushed, that that was pretty cool to write, and I think they pretty much stand out. People can remember them and go, "Oh, okay, this guy did this guy did that," and I don't know. I don't like. There are a couple of our background characters. There are a couple of background characters that are just background characters because it's a horror story. In horror, you need some background characters.
Yeah.
And
the cannon fodder.
They need some cannon fodder. I tried, to not let them go out like cannon fodder, but it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking as a fellow horror writer, yeah, I know about the bodies piling up. So, which of your characters would you like to hang out with in real life?
Ooh. I based the first guy that I was that had influenced by the Necronomicon by like some friends I usually party with in the convention scene. So I based the book around a guy deciding to celebrate him purchasing, the Necronomicon at a anime convention or comic book convention, if you don't know what that is. And the idea is that people just go there to have fun, party, drink, party some more, drink some more. So I based the first guy off of like a well-meeting dude, bro, and he's probably the closest to someone I actually would hang out with in real life. If I met that guy in real life, I'd be like, hey, yeah, you can party with me. We can just hang together and do all kinds of stuff, get in all kinds of adventures.
Okay, so what are your characters afraid of?
Arthur is specifically afraid of not necessarily dying, but losing a version of himself. Susan is afraid of basically living down to the moment. Like she's the type of person that if something bad happens, she don't want to be the person that says, I was in the sideline watching. And I guess Derek, who is the guy who lost the book, he's afraid of being inadequate. A lot of his saying is that they kind of the federal government kind of recruited him early in his occult research. So he doesn't necessarily feel like he's the most confident in his abilities. He doesn't want to get exposed. Kind of like when you get a job and you're underqualified for it, and they keep asking you to do things that you're not qualified to do, and you don't know how to do, but they keep asking you. So you kind of Google fool your way through life, and hopefully no one notices. He's that guy. He's constantly afraid of basically people noticing that he's not what he should be, and that's why he goes through what he does what he does in order to project that aura of being this confident guy who's on the rise, who knows he's doing. He deserves to be here. He deserves his paycheck, and he can contribute.
Okay, so you write horror. So have you ever thought about doing any other genres in future?
Oh yes, I am mulling over a straight fantasy story, based on the characters that not characters, based on the people I work with and turning them into characters. So I am mulling over writing that. And I think the second project after after this little, moment of horror is over, I think a second project may be return to sci-fi. Not really turn, but my toe into sci-fi. The first thing I written all the way was a sci-fi story. I never published it, and I probably still am not going to publish it anytime soon. But if my calendar projects were to clear up, that'll be like science fiction is my like first thing I really got into. As far as horror was the first thing that got me into reading, and then after horror was science fiction.
Okay, so what have you got coming up next for your readers?
Okay. As of today, there is a short story called A Day in October. Features the titular character Arthur Curry solving a problem with a certain creature that may or may not be hiding in a Missouri college town. And then there is tentatively titled Project League or League of Shadows. That one, I'm hoping to ruin Christmas for everyone in that book. So hopefully, I do that job very well. Some people think I've already ruined Christmas with what I've written so far. So that's more of a horror. I wanted to draw upon more of a traditional Lovecraftian style of writing, which is a lot of like callbacks and references to history, and a lot of seeing things from like past events and seeing people's perspective that have people from someone's perspective, someone had to write an experience down, which is something that Lovecraft uses a lot. And I wanted to experiment and push myself to like write from that perspective because it doesn't come natural to me. So hopefully that's going to be fun to read. And when I eventually finish it, I am maybe 11 and a half chapters in. So hope you guys are ready to enjoy.
Okay, sounds great. I think we'll wrap it up here, and I'll let you tell everyone where they can find you and your books.
Oh, wow. If you type my name into Google, I actually come up a couple times. So the first thing that comes up is my author's page you can find from Amazon anyway. So if you type William Tchatchou on Amazon, you will find me. If you type William Tchatchou on Facebook, you will also find me. And if you type William Tchatchou on Instagram, you will probably find me. Depends on where you live. So William Tchatchou on Amazon, safest bet. If you are someone from outside the United States, I am working on making an international profile so you guys can read up on me and read my bio about my dogs. And if you are interested in messaging me or saying, hey, I want to read your stuff in advance or some stuff, I'm more than happy to get feedback. So hit me up on Facebook. Again, just type in William Tchatchou. It should be the author's page. It should show up first because that's kind of popular right now. So, yeah, now I'll enjoy it.
Okay, and there are links in the description. So if you want to check out his book or his Amazon page, feel free. So, and I'd like to thank you for being here today. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Your book sounds very interesting.
It was a pleasure talking to you too.
And that's our last show for this year. And we will be back on January 9th. So join us then. Bye for now.
Bye.